The Jacksonville Jaguars are off to an 0-4 start to this season, so obviously they did not start exactly how everyone had in mind, I don't think. But that is why today I've decided to rebuild and try to fix the Jacksonville Jaguars. I do want to address one thing on the channel though. If you are not new here, then you know I had a Jacksonville Jaguars franchise rebuild going. Well, unfortunately I am going to have to cancel that. It was not doing too well on the channel, and if a series is not really helping my channel, I really have no incentive to keep it going, and stuff like this tends to do better. But I've rambled on now, so let's jump right into the rebuild. I think the really interesting part of this rebuild is going to be quarterback Trevor Lawrence. Right now he's a 75 overall, but still has a superstar dev trait, and he just got absolutely paid, so we're pretty much stuck with him whether I wanted to use him or not. But the rest of the offense honestly does not look that bad. They still have Travis Etienne, who's a 90 overall. They have a solid offensive line, or at least ratings-wise, aside from Anton Harrison, a former Oklahoma Sooner, is at 71 overall. So hopefully he develops, otherwise we're going to need a new one. Evan Ingram is a 90 overall over at tight end. They added Gabe Davis in for agency, so he will be the wide receiver 2. And for this season, at least, Christian Kirk will be the wide receiver 1. But I am putting Brian Thomas Jr. in the slot, so hopefully he can develop. Not gonna lie, the defense might be really bad here in the first season of the rebuild. We do have Josh Hines-Allen and Aluakin, I think I said his name right, but our second middle linebacker is not that good at a 68 overall, and our entire secondary is pretty well mid. I don't really know what to expect out of this team on season 1 of this rebuild, but let's simulate week 1 and see if we can at least start off with a win unlike they did in real life. And surprisingly to me, we actually do get a win 24-19, but they do not have Tua because he is injured in real life. I started with the current rosters. But Trevor Lawrence starts the season with a 2-touchdown and 3-interception performance. Not great. But now a few more weeks into the season, we have only lost one game so far. We lost to Buffalo 23-31. Aside from that, we're so far 5-1 on the year. So obviously this Jacksonville team is going to be a lot better than they are in real life right now. Lawrence has started the season with 18 touchdowns, but 7 interceptions through just 6 games. So he's throwing a lot of touchdowns, but at least 1 pick a game on average. And then it looks like Tank Bigsby is actually our leading rusher. I'm going to imagine Travis Etienne actually got hurt. And then receiving, Christian Kirk, 28 catches, 390 yards. Evan Ingram has 4. Devin Duvernay has 7 touchdowns. Gabe Davis has 3. And Brian Thomas Jr. not off to a great start. 7 catches for 74 yards. Looking through the contracts here before I simulate any more of the season, and I don't think there's really anyone I want to offer right now. Obviously, there's some really solid players here, like Brandon Sheriff, but he may end up retiring. He is 32 years old. And then actually, you know what? No, we'll offer a contract to Cam Robinson, 82 overall, a star depth trait at 28 years old. Will you take a 2-year deal? Yes, you will. Later on in the season, we are now sitting at 9-3. Our only other 2 losses were 22-25 to Philadelphia and 21-24 to Minnesota. We would then come back and beat Detroit 31-20. We had our bye week, and now our next game is a divisional matchup against the Houston Texans. And this is going to be a really big matchup because we are 8-3 against a 9-3 Texans team. So this could come down to who's going to win the division, because right now we're in second place. They are sitting in first place. But I want to see where Trevor Lawrence is. Right now he has thrown 33 touchdowns this year. That is absolutely insane. But let's simulate past this week and see if we don't pick up the win against Houston. Obviously this would be a really massive win, and we lose 30-24. Alright, let's go to the end of the season now and see if we actually end up making the playoffs. Let's figure out how the rest of this year went. So we were 9-4 the last time I was on the screen. We would then lose to Tennessee by 1 point. We beat the Jets and the Raiders, lost to the Titans, and then we beat Indianapolis. So we finished this year 11-6, which is not good enough to win the division. Houston also finished 11-6, but obviously they own some sort of tiebreaker. We have gotten into the playoffs though as the 5 seed. This is just an insane season from Trevor Lawrence. Almost 5,000 yards, but 51 touchdowns and 24 interceptions while completing 71% of his passes. That is just a ridiculous stat line to look at. Running the ball, Travis Etienne got 700 yards and 8 touchdowns. Trevor Lawrence also ran for 3. Bigsby got 3. And then what about receiving? Evan Ingram went for over 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns. Christian Kirk, 995 yards and 12 scores. Gabe Davis got 8. Brian Thomas Jr., after his slow start to the year, came back to finish with 10 touchdowns this season. So obviously that is incredible for us. Leading our team in tackles, though, is going to be Devin Lloyd. In sacks, Josh Hines-Allen came away with 24 on the season. Just a monster. And then several players came away with 3 picks this year. In case you were at all curious about the rest of the playoff bracket, here is how it played out, but let's see if we can't win this game in the wildcard round. And we will actually get to jump into this game. We're down by 5 with 1:57 to go. From our own 29-yard line, Lawrence will drop back. A quick throw over the middle, caught by Christian Kirk for the first down. We would burn our first timeout following that play. Now 1:52 to go. From our own 42-yard line. Back in a shotgun set, Lawrence will take the snap. A quick throw to the outside gets knocked away. That is going to set up a 2nd and 10 with 1:49 to play. Another shotgun set. Lawrence will drop back. It's going to be a screen to the outside, caught by Etienne, who gets to the edge and will get the first down just barely. No, they rule it 3rd and inches. I really thought he had gotten that, but now on 3rd down, Lawrence will drop back to pass. A quick throw will be an easy first down to Evan Ingram. We would then burn our second timeout with 1:20 to go here in the game. Another shotgun set. Etienne still in the backfield. From the 39-yard line of Houston, Lawrence will drop back to pass, standing in the pocket. Now he's going to go deep downfield. He's got a man, and that is Gabe Davis all the way to the 20. Now just 1:16 to go here in the wildcard round. Lawrence will drop back to pass again. He's going quickly to the outside, caught by Evan Ingram, who fights his way down to the 7-yard line. That brings up a 1st and goal. We still have a timeout here. Lawrence is going to come out in shotgun. But remember, if we score, Houston does have all 3 timeouts. Lawrence will lob this one to the end zone. That one gets knocked away. Nearly intercepted. An incredibly risky pass. How about we don't do stuff like that anymore? 2nd and goal from the 7-yard line. Back in a shotgun set again. He's going to send Brian Thomas in motion. Now he'll drop back to pass. And Lawrence will look to run, and he will run into the end zone. Touchdown, Jacksonville. And obviously, we will have to go for 2. I don't know what the camera is trying to show right there. Clearly, it was trying to show some sort of celebration. But with 54 seconds to go to make it a 3-point game, Lawrence will drop back, going to the end zone, and that gets intercepted, but there is a flag down. What is the flag going to be, and is this going to mess up EA at all? It's pass interference on the defense, so we should get another try here, and I think it's going to be from the 1. Why in the hell did we decline that? EA, come on, you have got to be kidding me. They will field this kick from the 5-yard line. He brings it up and will be met and brought down at about the 29-yard line. What in the hell is going on for EA to have that coded in to decline it in any situation? 1st and 10, 49 seconds to go. From their own 29-yard line, CJ Stroud comes out in shotgun. All they need is a field goal. He will drop back, going to the outside. He finds Nico Collins for a gain of about 5, and we have to burn our final timeout because there is an injury. So the Texans get to preserve all 3 of their timeouts for now. 45 seconds to go. It's a 2nd and 5. CJ will drop back to pass. He steps up in the pocket. He's going to go deep downfield, and that one will be knocked away, trying to hit Tank Dell. Thankfully, we got a deflection on that one. In case you did not catch that graphic, it says they need to get to the 41-yard line of Jacksonville for their kicker's range. Now on a 3rd and 5, and that is caught over the middle despite the fact that he got hammered. I believe that was Stephon Diggs. 35 seconds to go here in the game. From their own 40-yard line, Stroud back in shotgun will drop back to pass. A quick throw caught by Diggs again, who gets leveled one more time but holds on and gets an 8-yard gain. 2nd and 2. 31 seconds to go here in the game. Stroud out of shotgun again. Will drop back to pass. Going over the middle, and that is going to fall incomplete. Luckily, it's knocked out of Dalton Schultz's hands. That sets up a 3rd and 2 with 27 seconds to play here in the game. Stroud out of shotgun. A quick throw will be caught for an easy first down, brought down the Jacksonville 47-yard line, and they will burn their final timeout now. 24 seconds to go. Another shotgun set. Stroud will drop back to pass, and he's going to be under pressure. He gets sacked on the play, and that could be massive. They have to run no huddle, and now they only get one more play. This will be the final one of the game. Stroud going over the middle. He finds Nico Collins, but he is brought down, and we will escape the wild card round with a 1-point victory, 29-28. Now, as we move on to the divisional round of the playoffs, we will get to take on the 3-seeded Baltimore Ravens. But I would say the major story of the wild card round is that the 7-seed Cincinnati Bengals have taken on the 2-seed Kansas City Chiefs. So if we can somehow win in Baltimore and Cincinnati somehow wins in Buffalo, we will get a home game for the AFC Championship, but we really can't afford to look ahead. And we will jump into yet another close one. We jump in on a 2nd and 10 at our own 20-yard line, down by 1 point with 2:08 to play. We're just in Ingram in motion. Lawrence will drop back to pass. We're going to go downfield. A quick throw to the outside, caught by Brian Thomas for the first down. That'll take us to the 2-minute warning. All we need is field goal range, Trevor. From the 35-yard line, we'll run the play fake. Now he's going downfield again. Another quick throw. This one, I believe, to Evan Ingram for yet another first down. That moves us up to our own 47-yard line. But there is going to be apparently a review. But the review would not matter as we get to keep the ball right there. So Lawrence comes out in shotgun. Near the 50-yard line, he will drop back to pass. It's going to be a screen to the outside, caught by Etienne. He has blockers in front, gets one hell of a block, and gets close to the marker. They give him the first down to the 43. Just a couple plays later, it is now a 3rd and 1 from the 34-yard line. Lawrence out of shotgun will drop back to pass. He's going to go deep downfield, and he's got a man, Gabe Davis, down to the 5-yard line. 1 minute and 6 seconds to go. A 1st and goal. He's going to take the snap, and it's a handoff to Etienne up the middle, and he will get met and brought down to the 3, and Baltimore will now burn that final timeout that they were holding, and they have an injury. So they really didn't have a choice. They had to burn that timeout. 2nd and goal. Lawrence back in shotgun. Just keep running the ball here. We're going to send Brian Thomas in motion. Never mind. Lawrence is going to look to pass to the end zone. A wide open man and a touchdown, I believe, to Gabe Davis. Now can we get this 2-point try to make it a 7-point game? Lawrence back in shotgun. Etienne is in the backfield. He will take the snap. It's a handoff to him, and he will not get into the end zone. So it stays a 5-point game, and Baltimore will get the ball back, but they have no timeouts here with 59 seconds to go. The kick is away, and this kick is going to be landing inside the zone. So we'll have to bring it up from about the 8-yard line, and he'll get met and brought down near the 25. So here comes Lamar Jackson to try to keep their season alive. He comes out in shotgun. From his own 24 to be exact. He will drop back, go to the outside. He finds a man who was immediately brought down to the 35-yard line. But that does give him a first down. Clock is now down to 32 seconds. He comes out with a 5-wide set. Lamar will once again look to pass. Under pressure, but finds his man over the middle for a gain of about 9 yards. They still have to run a no-huddle offense. Now down to 10 seconds. It's a 2nd and 1. Lamar rolling to the outside will throw this one away to stop the clock at 6 seconds remaining. So you got to imagine a Hail Mary is coming right here. 3rd and 1. Lamar will drop back. He's going to be under pressure, and he's going to get sacked on the play. The one thing he could not do, and that will end this game. We're headed to the AFC Championship in our first year of this franchise rebuild. However, we will not be in a home game as Buffalo took down Cincinnati 28-22. So we get to go to Buffalo and take on the 1-seeded Bills. And the NFC Championship is between the 3-seed Saints and the 1-seed Philadelphia Eagles. However, this one was never really a close game at all. We lose 37-17, so our first season of this franchise rebuild ends in the AFC Championship game, which I feel like is a really good ending point for the first season of a rebuild. I mean, obviously, it would have been great to win a Super Bowl in the first season, but I will still take an AFC Championship game appearance, especially when we lose to the team that eventually wins the Super Bowl, as Buffalo just did and got their very first franchise Super Bowl 20-13 over Philadelphia. Now we can move on to the offseason and try to get this team just a little bit better. The first thing we're going to do is accept the 5th-year option on middle linebacker Devin Lloyd. We are also going to be taking the 5th-year option on former first overall pick Trayvon Walker. And it looks like Brandon Sheriff has decided to return, so let's see if we can't get a 1-year deal done with him. Does he take that? Yes, he will. I am also going to be trying to bring back Andre Sisco. He doesn't have a ton of interest in coming back here, so we'll up the money just a bit, a 3-year offer, and he will be re-signing as well. Literally everyone else, though, will be walking into free agency. We only have $20 million in cap space right now, so free agency may be a little bit interesting. And I would say we have definitely turned around Trevor Lawrence. With his current boost right now, he's a 91 overall, but at the start of this rebuild, he was a 75. We've got him up to an 86 overall now. And the rest of the offense looks incredible right now. Travis Etienne, a 93 overall. Christian Kirk up to an 87. Gabe Davis is an 86. And then the young receiver Brian Thomas Jr. right now an 83 overall. So I would say the biggest spot we need is probably just offensive line, because even Evan Ingram is now a superstar X Factor. Now, I still think we need a little bit of help over here on defense. And yes, I took the 5th-year option on Trayvon Walker, and right now it shows him as a backup. But I do have to remember that the specialist tab over here, whenever we want to rush on the right side, Trayvon Walker is our starter. So he's still playing a little bit, but Eric Armstead obviously above him. Next season, I may move him over to defensive tackle, and we'll see exactly how well Armstead does there if I can't find anyone better in free agency. This offseason, I really wasn't super active in free agency, mainly because I really couldn't afford to be. I have brought in middle linebacker Landon Roberts, though. He's a 78 overall, and hopefully he can fill in just in case I don't find anyone I absolutely love in the draft. But I've also signed Paulson Adebo to be our #1 corner, once again in case no one in the draft really jumps out at me. With our first round pick this year, I'm actually going to trade back with Philadelphia. We're going to fall back to 31, but we pick up a 4th round pick later in the draft. And then with that 31st overall pick here in the first round, we're going to take defensive back Bryce Minor out of East Carolina, and he is going to be an A+ for us and a normal depth trait. Really an A+, but a normal depth trait. So he's probably at least going to be a solid overall. Let's see if we can make up for not taking a player with a hidden depth trait here in the second round. So we're going to take middle linebacker Quentin Matthews out of Kansas State, only 21 years old. He did have A awareness and another normal depth trait. What the hell? While I am not real sure where this draft pick came from, we have the 3rd pick in the 3rd round. I'm going to take Sean Peterson out of Texas A&M. B block shed, A pursuit, A tackle, B zone coverage, does have B awareness, elite speed, great acceleration. If this is another normal depth trait player, I'm going to be pretty upset. And oh my god, what the hell am I doing? Well, one more pick. Let's just go ahead and take Nick Camarillo out of Michigan, a day 3 projected center. And I don't know his awareness. It's A to C. He has A impact block, A pass block, C run block. We need a center. We'll bring him in. They apparently rate that at a B. And another normal depth trait. Alright, so don't expect much out of this draft class because apparently I cannot draft at all this time. I mean, we got some solid ratings in the draft. A 77 overall corner, a 73 overall middle linebacker, a 75 overall outside linebacker, a 75 overall center, and a 71 overall tight end. Past that, no one above a 70. But, you know, I get no hidden depth traits whatsoever in the picks that I made, so that is not exactly fun, I would say. But let's go figure out who was the best player this year in the draft. So let's see. It's probably going to be this 82 overall quarterback that the Giants took. Dear God, Ben Weber is one hell of a quarterback. And then Joe Otton, not Alton, but Joe Otton was gone with the next pick. He's an 80 overall, so they've already given up on JJ McCarthy in Minnesota. And here will be your starting offense for Season 2 of this rebuild. The only addition I made off screen is Jimmy Garoppolo as the mentor backup quarterback, just so Trevor Lawrence gets a bit more experience every single week in weekly training. Aside from that, I am really excited to see what this offense can do this year. And then over on defense, I know I signed a middle linebacker, but I guess simulating the preseason, the computer decided that we didn't need him and we were just going to roll with our 2nd round pick in Matthews. So hopefully he's not completely and totally awful, but I did move Eric Armstead over to defensive tackle, so Trayvon Walker will be our starting left end, but he's still part of the rushing right end package. And look at the start to this season we are having. We are currently 6-0 and have scored at least 30 points in every single game. Now granted, our defense has allowed at least 20 points in every single game, so that's not good that we are in close games a lot, but we are winning them. Alright, I thought the last season was going to be an absurd stat line. Trevor Lawrence currently has 23 touchdowns to only 1 interception, only 6 games into the year. Running the ball, Etienne has 2 touchdowns and about 400 yards. And then receiving, Christian Kirk already has 9 receiving touchdowns, Brian Thomas has 6, Evan Ingram has 4, and Gabe Davis has 3. Before going too much farther into the season, let's take a look at some of these contracts. Christian Kirk does not want to come back. Travis Etienne does not want to come back. Evan Ingram wants to return. We'll offer him a 4-year deal. No, you're 30 years old. How about a 1-year deal? We'll kind of consider that, and he will be re-signing. I had a scenario for Trevor Lawrence earlier in the season for a breakout scenario, but he didn't get it. A few weeks later, we get another one, and Trevor Lawrence just like, yeah, no one can stop me. That's literally what he said, and then we get a depth trade upgrade. So apparently, Trevor Lawrence is now a superstar X Factor. And sure enough, that was not a lie. He is now up to a superstar X Factor. So yeah, I would say we definitely have turned around Trevor Lawrence's career trajectory at this point. Unfortunately, we do not get to keep our undefeated season going though. Our first loss would come to Kansas City 27-35, and then our second loss would come in the very next game against Seattle 28-33, but now we have won back-to-back games. Just ignore the fact that this one was 10-3. We are currently sitting at 9-2, so where does that put us in the playoff standings? It puts us as the 2 seed because the New York Jets are currently 11-1, so they are apparently having a really good year. Trevor Lawrence is not on the screen because he apparently does not have as many passing yards as these guys do, but he currently has 38 touchdowns and only 1 interception, so he's still having a pretty good year. From that point on in the season, we would actually not lose another game, so we saw the 10-3 game here. Well, yeah, we would just win out from that point and finish this year 15-2. Which, as you can tell from this screen, was good enough to get the bye week. The Jets end up finishing 13-4, and that division was incredibly competitive. So was ours, really. Houston's behind us at 12-5, and they also managed to get into the playoffs. And then the final stat line for Trevor Lawrence this season, 54 touchdowns to only 4 interceptions, and a 74% completion percentage. Running the ball, Etienne went for 1,100 yards and 7 scores. Receiving, we had 3 1,000-yard receivers. Christian Kirk for almost 1,300 yards and 16 touchdowns. Evan Ingram got 15 touchdowns. Brian Thomas got 10. Gabe Davis caught 7. Now, what about over on defense? Who led the team in tackles? That is going to be Devin Lloyd. Not much of a shock there. In sacks, Josh Allen got 15, but Trayvon Walker came away with 10. And then interceptions, a few players came away with 3 this year. Moving on to the divisional round matchup, we get to take on the 7-seed Buffalo Bills because they just walked into New York and took down their division rival, the Jets, 27-24. And we are now trying to avoid having Buffalo knock us out of the playoffs for the 2nd year in a row. We face a 3rd and 4 from our own 48, down by 3. Near the 2-minute warning, Lawrence with a throw to the outside, caught by Etienne, but he will not have the first down. We do have all 3 timeouts, but we are going to go for it here on 4th and 3. With 2 minutes to play, Lawrence will drop back to pass. A quick throw is going to be caught by Brian Thomas, who will break that tackle off to the races, and he is gone. Touchdown, Jacksonville, and it is now up to our defense. We'll see if they can get a decent kick return here. It's going to go all the way back to about the 5-yard line. He's going to bring it up across the 25, across the 30, spin out a man, and get all the way to the 39. So a very good kick return for Buffalo. But they don't just need a field goal, they need to find the end zone. 1:46 to go, and they do have all 3 timeouts, but so do we. He's going to start by sending the man in motion. Josh Allen will drop back to pass. He's standing in the pocket, now going over the middle, and that'll get intercepted on the first play of the drive. It was Devin Lloyd coming away with that massive turnover, and now we have a chance to end this game. Hand off to Etienne, up the middle for the first down, and Buffalo will have to burn that first time out. Now with 1:34 to play. From the 29-yard line, I imagine this is going right back to Etienne, and it is to the outside, and Travis Etienne gets another first down carry as they burn that second timeout. From the 18-yard line with 1:30 to play, out of an I formation, back to Etienne again, who goes up the middle, runs over a man, and he's going to get another solid gain. It wasn't another first down, but it does get an 8-yard carry, and they burn that final timeout. So now it's a 2nd and 2. Lawrence lines up under center, and it'll be a handoff to Etienne to the outside. He'll get the first down and more into the end zone. Touchdown, Jacksonville. We're headed back to the AFC Championship game. So we got a little bit of playoff revenge from last season, but now it's the Ravens' turn to try to get some playoff revenge from last season since we were the one to knock them out. And we're in a close matchup here with 2 minutes to go, up by 4. They face a 4th down, but Lamar Jackson's going to run for it, get the first inside the 10 before he finally slides down to the 7-yard line. That would cause Baltimore to burn that very first time out. So now it's a 1st and goal. Out of a shotgun set, they give it to the running back who goes up the middle and doesn't find much space. So the clock will continue to run. It's a 2nd and goal. Still at the 7-yard line. Lamar back in shotgun again. Derrick Henry is now lined up in the backfield. That was definitely not Henry on the last carry. But this time it will be Henry. Never mind, it's a read option. Lamar to the outside will get all the way down inside the 1-yard line, I believe, for a 3rd and goal. They rule it actually just outside the 1. He's going to come out in a shotgun set again. Derrick Henry still in the backfield, but he'll look to pass. Roll to the outside. He gets sacked on the play by Josh Hines-Allen. So the game could come down to this. A 4th and goal from the 8-yard line. With 2 timeouts remaining for Baltimore. They're going to send Bateman in motion. He takes the snap, stands in the pocket, goes to the end zone, and he will find his man, but that is out of bounds, and we will take over with a turnover on downs. But the booth is going to review this, so let's see if we can get a good look at it as well. Yeah, I think he is very clearly out of bounds. Though, I mean, that guy is blocking it, but I can see his foot is like on the white. So, yeah, this should not be overturned. And it most definitely was not. With 1:06 to play from the 8-yard line, they do have 2 timeouts, so there is a chance they can get the ball back with a little bit of time. Hand off to Etienne, who goes right up the middle and is going to get brought down for a 5-yard carry. So they would burn that second timeout there. A minute to play in the game for a 2nd and 5. He'll take the snap. We go back to Etienne up the middle, and he'll break that tackle and get met and brought down. They rule that he got the first. They burn that final timeout, and that should wrap this game up. There is actually an injury timeout for Baltimore, but it is not going to matter. We should get out of here with a win. It has only taken us 2 seasons in this rebuild to reach a Super Bowl, and now we get to take on the 1 seed San Francisco 49ers. But there is one thing I want to show you guys first, and because of his incredible season, Trevor Lawrence has won the NFL MVP award. You obviously would have saw it after this game anyway, but it's not really much of a shock with the year he had. But this is probably going to be a pretty tough matchup for us. Offensive points per game, we are 1st, they are 9th. The opponent's points per game, we are 4th, they are 5th. So this should be a really close game, and hopefully we don't get completely blown out. Well, we definitely don't get blown out. We completely destroy San Francisco 42-10. So your Jacksonville Jaguars are now Super Bowl champions. It only took 2 years of this rebuild, so we are at least going to do 1 more full season. We're going to see if we can't come back and repeat as Super Bowl champions, because I did not expect this rebuild to go that quickly. And I am well aware I have not been showing playoff stats, but Trevor Lawrence, 31 of 38 for 431 yards and 4 touchdowns in the Super Bowl is just incredible. Christian Kirk, 13 catches, 177 yards and 2 scores. This may be his final game as a member of this team because his contract is up. He was not too interested in re-signing. Let's see who else scored a touchdown. Gabe Davis got one, and Evan Ingram got one as well. And I would say after we saw his stats, Trevor Lawrence winning Super Bowl MVP is not really much of a shock. Doug Peterson does win Coach of the Year. Offensive Player of the Year is actually Keon Coleman. Defensive Player of the Year goes to Myles Garrett. And then the Offensive Rookie of the Year goes to that just incredible quarterback the Giants took in the last draft. At one point this season, Travis Etienne had no urge of coming back here. What exactly happened? Oh, his top motivation is historic championships, and we literally just won a Super Bowl. So we'll up this just a little bit just to make sure that he comes back, and he is not going to be coming back. All right, we'll have to fight for him in free agency apparently. Or you know what? I'm not even going to do that. How about we just franchise tag him for $15 million? Actually, maybe not. We only have $25 million in cap space. Let me look at the other situations. We are going to be taking this 5th-year option on Anton Harrison. I do know that. I really just don't want to have to worry about punter at all. So how about a 1-year offer to Logan Cook, and he will be returning. So we at least managed to re-sign him. We have $22 million in cap right now. Let me see if there's any moves I could make possibly after this to see if we could free up space, because $15 million for a running back is quite a bit. Yeah, there are definitely a couple moves I could make to make some cap space if I do that move. So we're going to go ahead and take the franchise tag on Travis Etienne just because he's a really highly rated running back at a 95 overall. I think the sim engine values running back for whatever reason really highly. So yeah, we're going to franchise tag Travis Etienne, and that'll be the only moves we make here. Oh, and apparently our coordinators were poached from us. That's incredible. All right, we'll have to find new ones. All right, after losing both of our coordinators, which really sucks, and I feel like it didn't tell me before I got to this point in the season, I checked after the Super Bowl and they had not left yet. So we hired offensive coordinator Brian Tarver and defensive coordinator Jackson Pierce, and I'm going to really hope that neither one of you suck and cost us a chance to repeat as champions. Because there is a reason I generally like to end videos like this whenever you win a championship, because winning a championship and then coming back and like missing the playoffs is a pretty anticlimactic ending, and then you kind of feel like you have to rebuild it all over again, and I don't want to do that. But we do lose Ronald Darby and Mitch Morse this season to retirement. Well, I'm going to need to make some sort of cap space, and we're going to start with defensive tackle Eric Armstead. He's old, he's down to a 79 overall, and he is currently a normal dev trait. So we're going to see if anybody wants him for anything, and I would really just like to get some draft picks back. That is a star dev trait running back for a 32-year-old defensive tackle, Seattle. That's just not a realistic trade. Let me see if any of these guys will be willing to give up some draft capital. The Seahawks were willing to part with a 3rd-round pick, so Eric Armstead, you are headed to Seattle. The only other move I can see here is Darnell Savage. He's 29 years old, a 77 overall, and we would save $8.5 million in cap getting rid of him. I don't know if anyone's actually going to trade for him, though. I will attempt it, and there is some interest. The Texans and the Jets. Would you guys be willing to give up some draft picks? It took a little bit of negotiating, but we were able to trade Darnell Savage, a 3rd round pick next year and a 5th round pick this year for a Jets 2nd round pick. The only other real move I feel like I could make here is Ezra Cleveland, the 80 overall left guard, 28 years old, but I'm not too upset giving him 9.9 or nearly 10 million of the cap this year. But Gabe Davis at an 87 overall would save us 15 million. He might get traded if there's some options in free agency, which there is not a lot of. Obviously, Christian Kirk is here, but not a lot of these guys have any interest in coming here. We could theoretically bring back Devin Duvernay, but I think for right now, we're going to end up keeping Gabe Davis. But you know, having a quarterback at a 94 overall and a 99 with all of his boosts is a pretty good thing to have on the team, even if we don't have a lot of like elite receivers. But I would say we have some pretty damn close to elite receivers. Brian Thomas Jr. is up to a 90 overall. Gabe Davis is currently an 89 with his boost. Evan Ingram up to a 93 overall, superstar X Factor. We are definitely going to need a new right guard and possibly a new center. Even with the defense not being really super highly rated at a couple spots like defensive tackle, they were still pretty solid last year. Obviously, Eric Armstead was there, not Smith here. And then we need a second middle linebacker. Matthews is okay, but if we can upgrade, I'll definitely look to do that. Well, I used just about all the cap space I could, but we have definitely brought in some good talent. I brought in Xavier Woods just in case there's not a solid strong safety in the draft. We have someone that can start there since I got rid of Darnell Savage. I brought in Kenneth Murray to be our linebacker number 2 or our middle linebacker number 2 because he's incredibly fast, has decent awareness. I'm still going to look to see if there's anyone to draft, but I'm not going to guarantee that. I brought back right guard Brandon Sheriff, and then wide receiver Jamison Williams with his 98 speed. Didn't have a lot of interest in coming here, so we kind of had to pay him a lot of money. But I think adding him and losing... who the hell did we even lose? I completely forgot. Christian Kirk. Adding him and losing Christian Kirk, I feel like that's going to be a decent trade for us. Alright, are you guys ready to see me continue to just take nothing but normal dev trait players? Here at the end of the first round at pick number 32, I'm going to take safety Roosevelt Duval. And apparently just decided I was taking him. And no, we apparently took defensive end. Why in the hell? I didn't have a like clock timer on. Why did it automatically do the pick for me? Alright, well I guess we took a defensive end that we didn't need. Yeah, despite the fact that I have the draft timer turned off, you still have to click pause draft for whatever reason, which is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. But either way, here in the second round now, we're going to take center Philip Frazier out of California, and we're going to really hope that this guy is not a normal dev trait, and he is a hidden dev trait. So the first player that I finally get to take here with a hidden dev trait. And just a few picks later, we're going to take another offensive lineman. We're going to take right guard Trent Kennedy out of Louisville, 21 years old. He's going to be a B- pick apparently, and he will also have a hidden dev trait. Well, I've been looking for a safety in this draft, and I apparently completely missed out on the one I wanted to take in the first round by not realizing the clock was going to do that. But we are going to take defensive back Jonathan Leonard out of Miami, and honestly, I think his skills more translate to safety than they do corner. He has good speed, marginal acceleration. Jonathan Leonard, not Lillard, either way, you're being drafted to Jacksonville, and you do have a hidden dev trait, which is nice to see. And then just a few picks later here at the end of the third round now, we're going to take defensive tackle Najee Thomas out of USF, and I honestly don't know really what to expect out of this draft pick except for a normal dev trait, not a hidden. Not a terrific draft class, but I would say not the worst thing I've ever seen. Let's take a look at Charles Smiley, since I have not got to see anything about this guy. He is a hidden dev trait at 6'5", 304. We're actually going to move you over to defensive tackle, my guy, because I feel like you're going to get a lot better there. Moving on past him, we got a 74 overall at center, a 72 overall right guard, and then nothing great. A 68 overall corner, a 68 overall defensive tackle, a 65 overall defensive end, a 67 running back, a 63 defensive tackle, and a 66 overall receiver. Now let's go see who the best player in this draft was, just because it's something I always like to go double check. And it looks like it's going to be this left guard most likely, and no, it is a center in Charlie Piercy, who went pick number 23 to Houston. I do want to see where my strong safety that I was going to take went, because I think he ended up going at pick 37 if I remember that board correctly. So he's going to be right here, Roosevelt Duval, a 73 overall guy. And he is going to be a normal dev trait, so that would have definitely pissed me off, I feel like. Maybe the computer did me a favor. As we try to go through and repeat as Super Bowl champions, here's your starting lineup for Season 3 of this rebuild. The big change, I would say, is no more Christian Kirk, but we have added Jameson Williams, and then Mitch Morse retired, so Frazier will now be our starting center. And then over on defense, we have a couple rookies starting here, like Smiley, who was drafted in the end of the first round as a defensive end. He is a 77 overall defensive tackle now after the preseason, so obviously that was the right move. And then Leonard was drafted as a corner. He is up to a 72 overall following the preseason. I don't know where these guys got some of these boosts, because he was like a 75 and he was a 69. So obviously they got a couple upgrade points, but you know, now they're the starters, so we'll see if they absolutely suck. About halfway through the season now, they don't seem to be too awful. We are currently sitting at 7-1. Our only loss was at Baltimore by 3. Everyone else we've pretty well taken care of. Obviously some close games here, but let's see where we are in terms of stats. While still a pretty good year, it looks like Trevor Lawrence is going to take a slight step back from last season. You know, last season was a little bit insane. Running the ball, ETN has about 600 yards and 6 touchdowns. And then receiving, Brian Thomas has stepped up as our #1 receiver with 626 yards and 4 touchdowns. But Jameson Williams has already caught 8 on the season. And it does appear we're going to be in a pretty tight battle for the division, as Houston is 6-2 as we stand at 7-1, like I've already told you guys. And as of right now, we are the 1 seed in the AFC, but there's still plenty of time for that to change. But let's go ahead and simulate this week and see if we can get the win over Houston to get a 2-game lead on the division. No, we cannot. We lose 31-28. And we have a pretty massive injury. Travis Etienne has a partial PCL tear and will miss the next 6 weeks of the season. I was really hoping that that injury would not slow down our offense too much, and we played good the first game without him. We beat Cincinnati 35-21, but then we lost back-to-back games against Washington and Dallas. We would beat the Giants, then have a bye week, and then we came back and beat Indianapolis. But now we get to face the Houston Texans once again, and it is a massive, massive matchup one more time for us, because as of right now, we are 10-4, they are 11-3. Obviously, they are leading the division right now and are currently the 1 seed in the playoffs, so we need to pick up this win. Hopefully, we can do it here in week 16 of the season. And do we pick up the win? No, we do not. 27-19. We should still be good to make the playoffs, barring like a catastrophic failure, but this is not good right now. Following the loss to Houston, we would come back and beat Tennessee and Pittsburgh, so we finished the year 12-5, which is still a really, really good record, but we are most likely not going to win the division. Before we go take a look at the playoff bracket, season stats on the year, Trevor Lawrence goes for 5,100 yards, 46 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions. Running the ball, ETN, 786 yards and 8 touchdowns. Granted, he did miss a good chunk of the season here. Receiving, we had 2 guys go over 1,000 yards. Jameson Williams with 1,100 yards and 14 touchdowns. Evan Ingram also over 1,000 yards with 9 touchdowns. Brian Thomas Jr., he got hurt actually for a few weeks this year. Still finishes with 5 touchdowns. Gabe Davis got 6, and Parker Washington came away with 6 on the year. Now let's go over here and see exactly how the defense finished. Once again, Devin Lloyd's going to be the one leading the team in tackles. In sacks, Josh Hines-Allen got 10.5, and interceptions, a couple people came away with 3. So Houston does end up winning the division, so those couple losses to them definitely mattered a lot. And we get to take on the 4-seed Baltimore Ravens first. And for the 3rd year in a row, it's going to be a close game against Baltimore here in the playoffs. We are near the 2-minute warning. It's a 1st and 10 from the 19. We are up by 4. The handoff to ETN for a gain of 5. That should take us down to the 2-minute warning. We are just looking to chew some clock here. 2nd down. And it's going to be another handoff to ETN, who is going to have the 1st down and more into the end zone. I guess we're not going to chew the clock. Touchdown, Jacksonville. And that score would obviously send us into the next round of the playoffs, where we will get to travel to Houston to take on the 1-seeded Texans. Well, you may have beaten us in the regular season a couple times, but you don't beat us here. Final score is 45-35, and for the 3rd straight year, the Jacksonville Jaguars are headed to the AFC Championship game. And oh my god, look at those quarterback numbers. This was apparently a massive duel today. 6 touchdowns for Trevor Lawrence and 389 yards. 324 yards for CJ Stroud and 5 touchdowns. For now the 2nd time in this rebuild, we will get to take on the Buffalo Bills in the AFC Championship game. And the NFC side's a bit interesting. It's the 5-seed Chicago Bears against the 7-seed Dallas Cowboys. So neither of those teams won their division, but have a chance to go to the Super Bowl. Unfortunately, though, barring a complete miracle, which we are going to watch the end of this game to see if we can pull it off, I don't think we're going to win this one. He's going downfield, he finds his man, and that is going to be Jameson Williams all the way to the 48-yard line. Obviously, we need to score a touchdown and then get the onside kick, or a field goal and get the onside kick. Either way, we're going to need the ball twice, and we have no timeout, so we cannot let Buffalo get the ball one more time. Now it's a 2nd and 5. We need to probably start pushing the ball downfield a little bit quicker. About 50 seconds to go in the game. Lawrence back in a shotgun set. Will take the snap. A quick throw downfield. Caught by Evan Ingram, who breaks that tackle. Off to the races inside the 10, 5, and a touchdown for Jacksonville. So it comes down to this. Can we recover an onside kick? The kick is away. And we're actually going to be able to grab that. No one from Buffalo got there. All we need is a field goal now. 28-30. From our own 47-yard line, Lawrence back in shotgun, will look to pass, going downfield, and he finds his man. That's Brian Thomas at the 36-yard line. We're under 30 seconds to play. I have never seen an onside kick work in this game. I am still in shock. Lawrence with a quick throw, caught by Evan Ingram, who cuts upfield, and he'll fight all the way down to about the 18-yard line. Now, Buffalo does have all 3 timeouts, and what are we doing? We really just let that happen. What the absolute hell, EA? Why would you not, spike the ball quickly or send out the field goal unit? We really just lost the game like that because EA's simulation logic is just absolutely amazing. I love that year in and year out, this is what we get from the only people that can make an NFL simulation game. Oh my god, we should have won this. We really should have won this. And as an Eagles fan, it's really cool to see we're going to end this rebuild with a Dallas Cowboys Super Bowl victory, 34-31. I know it sucks to end a rebuild video on a loss, but I think this team is completely rebuilt. We obviously won a Super Bowl already, probably should have played in a second straight one, but I still think we turned Jacksonville into a really, really good team. We definitely turned around Trevor Lawrence, now a 96 overall superstar X-Factor quarterback. So yeah, I'm going to consider this rebuild a success. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and I will talk to you next time.